Welcome to this special holiday edition of Mental Health Moments. I hope the mental health news and information shared here will empower you and your family to get on or stay on a journey towards wellness, mind, body, spirit, and soul. I'm Dr. Beverly Sargent, Director of the District Heights Family and Youth Services Bureau. The Youth Services Bureau, or YSB, provides mental behavioral health counseling to children, youth, and families. In this special holiday edition, we will talk to two powerhouses in their respective traditions about the healing aspects of holiday celebrations. Pastor James Izzard Jr., the pastor of Life Builders Church of God in the District Heights, Forestville area, will discuss Christian celebrations, and the Honorable Baba C., griot and master storyteller, will share Kwanzaa principles and how-tos as well. As a special programming note, we reached out to several synagogues in the area in an attempt to include a Jewish perspective for the show. Before you hear from our special guest, let me tell you what's coming up for you and your family in the new year here in the YSB. We hope to move into the new building in early January. This is a move that's been on our hearts and minds for years. We're thankful to move from 900 square feet of trailer space and 4 offices into 10,000 square feet, 8 offices, 2 play therapy rooms, 2 family viewing rooms, a multi-purpose training celebration space, a conference room, commercial kitchen, and much, much more. We are so grateful to the city, the county, and state officials for making this move a reality. Stay tuned. Did I say stay tuned? Our first workshop in the new building is designed for families, yes, parents and children. The first participants to show up and stay will be rewarded. Saturday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to noon is the first of 3 nutrition classes designed to help you make healthy food taste good. Registration is open now and there are only 10 spots, so register to make sure you win. The Maryland Coalition of Families wants to help your teen help other teens. The group will meet in the new building on Friday, January 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. The Girl Scouts and the girls group, Grace and Greatness in Real Life, will meet in the new building on the first and third Saturdays of every month. Girls discuss real-life experiences and learn how to navigate in grace and greatness. Get your girl involved in these healthy, wholesome activities. We have a boys group that meets in Woodland Springs apartment complex every Monday at 3 p.m. Bring out your style. Helps boys live their best lives with character. In 2019, there is something at the YSB for every person in your family. Call us at 301-336-7600 to sign up. All groups and workshops are free. The holidays, filled with special events, gift giving, and hopefully joy, are not always so joyous for everyone. However, with planning, celebrations can be healing experiences. Let's transition to my conversation with Pastor Izzard. I'm here in Life Builders Church of God with its pastor, Bishop Dr. James Izzard Jr. Thank you so much, Pastor, for letting us come in and for being willing to talk to us about the healing aspects of celebrations during this time period.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be with you today.
And you know, the holiday season is celebrated in so many different ways by different traditions. There's Kwanzaa, there is Hanukkah, and so can you tell us a little bit about how Christians celebrate?
Certainly. For Christians, Christmas is a special day because that represents the day that Jesus Christ, who is the central focus of Christianity, came to this earth. And that was a day that meant a lot. It had been prophesied for many years by prophets in the Old Testament, and that day of his birth was a realization of that. And so We believe that that is the ultimate gift to mankind. And so as a result, we believe gift giving is in line with acknowledging that. And so we do give gifts. We spend time in fellowship over food. We spend time playing games. We spend time going out and doing things that are fun. And so anything that we can think of that would give us the ability to just fellowship and come in a communal type setting is how we celebrate that.
Okay. So you mentioned the fellowship aspects of celebrations. Can you be a little more specific about what you all do here at Life Builders?
Sure. A great example is in a few weeks, we're going to have a Christmas party, if you will, where we're going to use a facility within District Heights. And the church will come together and we'll play games and we'll have fun, we'll eat. We'll certainly take time to acknowledge the focal point of our celebration, which is the birth of Jesus Christ. We also take time to acknowledge families. We like to give food to individuals who may not be as fortunate as others. We like to take time to give an emphasis and focus on the young people, and we like to make sure they all get a gift. Some of them are not as fortunate as others and may not get a gift, so we put the emphasis there to make sure everyone knows they're special.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned again, the fellowship, helping people to know that they feel special, and also the outreach aspects of what this church does, and especially during this time of year. But can you think of anything else about what you all do that could be healing to someone during this time of year?
Sure. I think one thing about Christmas that's so special, I think, to everyone is that it has a communal aspect to it. And it's normal almost for people to want to connect, be cordial to people that they don't know or may not otherwise have been cordial to throughout the year. And I think that can be a healing element to people who may be depressed or not enjoying the holidays, or for whatever reason, the holidays may give them memories that are not pleasant. And so when people reach out to them and make them feel special, let them know that they care, they recognize and notice them, I believe that can have a healing effect on other people. I also think, and I believe that maybe Christmas has been more commercialized than it should be, but I do think that gift giving is another way to do that. It says to a person, you're special, and we're thinking about you. So I think that is a way of bringing healing as well. In this church, of course, as I'm sure many churches, most churches probably, we spend time praying as well, placing an emphasis on prayer. There's a communal aspect to prayer that I believe the Lord honors and also lifts our spirit.
That's true. I agree completely. What advice or what suggestions do you have for parents who, let's say there's a parent who recognizes their child is sad or just not being a part of, maybe even isolating himself or herself. So what kind of advice would you have for a parent who can, how he or she can set up a healing atmosphere in the home? Or maybe not even in the home, maybe, coming out to church.
Sure. Well, certainly I would always invite people to come to church. I think that's always brings healing. I think it's important for parents to know that kids these days face so many challenges that perhaps we didn't face growing up, or the challenges were different. They've evolved. So it's an opportunity for parents to take time to be intentionally positive, to find ways to validate and reaffirm their child. Another thing that I think would be very useful for any family is to take the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving and any other holiday, to go together and engage in a project where maybe you help and give to someone else. I think there's something inherently comforting about giving to someone else and knowing that you're doing that together as a family. That's all therapeutic, I believe. So I think those are good things to do. And again, helping the child to know that this is a time to relax, to come apart from all of the stuff that goes on in school and the studies and all those things, and just focus on them and make them a center of your attention. I think that's a therapeutic as well.
Awesome advice. So when are your services here? What days or what times, just in case there is a parent who wants to, bring their child or, to be a part of?
Sure, we would love that. We have service obviously every Sunday, of course. 10 o'clock a.m. is what we call our morning worship encounter.
Okay.
Preceding that is at 9 o'clock, we have what's called our impact hour, which is a discipleship time, a Sunday school hour.
Okay.
So from 9 to 9:45 is the Sunday school hour. 10 o'clock a.m. is our morning worship service. And then we have several activities that go on throughout the week. We have a Tuesday activity, which is specifically geared for the community.
Okay.
At 11 o'clock a.m. we have a community Bible study on that Tuesday. And after that Bible study is when we actually enact our food pantry and outreach. And so we invite people who may not be as fortunate or need help or assistance with food items to visit our food pantry, and we will make sure that we help them out with perishables and non-perishables.
Okay.
And our kitchen ministry also will serve them a hot meal. So all that goes on Tuesdays between 10 and 12.
Okay.
And then Wednesday night is a midweek service that we have, where it's a time of teaching, Bible study, and sharing. So those are the primary service times that we have. We have other outreach activities that we do.
Okay.
First and third Saturday, I believe, of the month is our outreach to the local nursing homes here.
Okay.
But we would invite anyone to come and worship with us. I think they'll find it to be a friendly, safe environment, and I believe they will hear something that will inspire them spiritually.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's certainly a lot of opportunities for people who need to connect or want to connect or try something different. I mean, you mentioned Sunday morning, 2 services on Sunday morning. You mentioned Tuesday afternoon, and then Wednesday night, and then every now and then, I think you said first and third on Saturdays. And so, just in my own words, it's kind of like no excuse for anybody to be alone unless they just want to be.
I agree. We try to create as many opportunities as possible, and in different contexts, because different people feel different in different situations.
Yeah.
So we try to create those situations. And if I could add, we also on the Wednesday night Bible study we have activities for the young people.
Okay.
And our young people are taught a little differently than others in that we tend to do it an active teaching.
Okay.
They go out, they play games, and then the games are done in such a way that it teaches a Bible lesson throughout the unfolding of the game. So we think the young people will receive that well.
Wonderful. Well, again, I want to thank you so much, but before we close, I want to give you the opportunity to share or add anything that we might have missed, or if there's a message that you want to tell the masses, about actually anything, but, especially the holidays and healing opportunities or anything like that. The floor is open.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to share with you. I think that's great. I think, the fact that Christmas is a time where you actually have a license, if you will, to be nice, and a license to connect with people, and a license to give. Yeah. I think that is such a blessing, because we, as you know, are in times that are inherently divisive, and in some ways people don't feel safe. And so I think it's great that we come upon this time that everyone just kind of stop and breathe and take an opportunity to just take it in and acknowledge what the season is for. And notwithstanding your belief, you may not be a Christian, you may not be practicing the Jewish faith or any other faith, but whatever your way of celebrating is, I think we all should take license to do that. Yeah. And I think that'll be therapeutic for all of us. Yeah. So I hope that as this season comes, that we'll do that, and maybe as we go into the new year, we can go into the new year hitting the reset button.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and just thank you for opening your doors to us, to talking to us, and sending a healing message out to all of our viewers.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do for the District Heights community. We appreciate that. It's such a blessing, and I pray that God continues to bless you and strengthen you in what you do, and continue to give you creativity and vision and expand your work.
Thank you. I want to thank Pastor Izzard for his time and his willingness to share on this broadcast. In full disclosure, He's my pastor. I'm very proud of the work he's doing locally and globally, bringing help and healing to people, mind, body, spirit, and soul. Now, let's visit with the Honorable Baba C. and hear his thoughts on Kwanzaa. So, Baba C., thank you so much for being with us today.
Asante Sana, thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you. And thank you also for being willing to share Kwanzaa with our viewers and, explaining to us what it's about and how we can use this celebration to help us get through the holidays.
Oh yes, most definitely. Kwanzaa is a very wonderful observation. So I'd like to clear up a couple of misconceptions, if I may, real quick.
Okay.
First of all, Kwanzaa is not a substitute for Christmas.
Okay.
It does not take the place of Christmas, Hanukkah. It is not a religious-based observation. So you can be Christian, Muslim, Jewish, you can be Buddhist, sect, it doesn't matter, atheist, agnostic. That's not what Kwanzaa is about. It's also not a hero worship type of celebration. Kwanzaa is a cultural celebration, and it's based on the first harvest, which is celebrated through many parts of West Africa.
Okay, now thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. But before we get deeper into Kwanzaa, I want you to share some information about you. So I introduced you as the griot and the master storyteller. Can you tell us what is a griot, and tell us a little bit more about what it's like to be a master storyteller, and actually what is that?
Well, first let me say, all griots are storytellers, but not all storytellers are griots.
Okay.
A storyteller can tell a story to entertain. Just entertain. There's nothing wrong with that. We all like to kick back and listen to music or watch a dance or enjoy something on television or the movies, and that's entertainment. That's okay.
Okay.
But the griot is also an oral historian. The griot is also a living library, a cultural curator. We are the living embodiment of what museums are, but we're also charged through the art of storytelling to teach, promote, and preserve the heritage, the culture. So through the art of storytelling, we teach about history, we teach about the important things that happen in our community, we encourage and inspire people to have a sense of self-empowerment, and we do all those things through the art of storytelling. Now, what makes a master story stand apart from a storyteller is a master storyteller knows the nuances. See, there's a difference in the story that takes place with a tortoise and a turtle. One is land-bound and the other one lives mostly in the water. So when you tell a story, you know that the animals represent people and aspirations of people. So knowing those little nuances, knowing if you're talking about a certain type of tree, that tells you about geography. See, storytelling, although it's very entertaining, it's also very complex. But a good storyteller, I tell people, I guarantee you're going to have a good time. But if you're not careful, you might learn something new.
Yeah. Well, listen, again, thank you. I'm really honored. I can attest that you are a master storyteller. The first time
Make a brother blush.
the first time I heard you tell stories, it was actually at an event for grieving children. And so, and actually, you have agreed to tell us a story as well once we're done with here. So I'm really excited to hear what story you're going to tell.
I am too.
Okay, all right. So let's get into the Kwanzaa celebration. You mentioned that it's a cultural celebration, and
Yes.
and I think the more that we can share our culture with our children, the more healing it can be, especially for kids and teenagers who might be dealing with sadness or depression during this time of year.
Well, a sense of identity is very important and key in one's development. The sense of identity is very important because it's the foundation that we build everything else on. So back in 1966, Dr. Mulani Karengi was rather appalled that everybody else in America had something they could celebrate. You know, Columbus Day, I won't go into that, St. Patrick's Day. Almost everybody had Bastille Day. Almost everyone had a celebration except for Africans born in America, except for African Americans. So he developed Kwanzaa, which means first harvest, and it's a key Swahili word. And so he developed that, and it's very simple and very easy to observe. There are 7 basic components for when you set up your Kwanzaa table or your kit. You have the 7 candles, and those are known as the Mashuma Saba, the 7 candles, that represent the 7 principles. And then you have the mat. You have corn that represents the children, because the children are the future. You have fruit that represents the harvest, because who doesn't like a good harvest? Then you have that's also called Mahindi. You have the Kikombe Cha Umoja, the unity cup. Okay, we'll call it the unity cup.
Okay.
And then on
It's
the
easier
7th
to
day,
say.
yes, on the 7th day we have Zawadi, gifts. And we'll get back to that in a moment.
Okay.
So here's the Kanara, the candle holder, and these are the candles that represent the 7 principles.
Now, I have to say, one aspect of the Kanara, or the way the table is set up, is that you have all of the candles here to begin with.
Yes.
And I thought you would do one at a time, one each day.
Well, you light, on the first day you light 1 candle, the next day it's 2 candles, and 3 candles, and 4, and so on and so on. Some people, for symbolic reasons or to re-emphasize, will put in candle by candle, but traditionally we start out with the Kanara being full.
Okay.
And then on the first day, if I may demonstrate.
Sure,
On the first day, which is Umoja, unity. For divided we fall, but united we stand. Wakanda forever. Anyhow, we have Umoja. So we light a candle in honor of Umoja. We light a candle. That was your cue candle. Thank you. All right.
Now,
So-
I have to say, too, I love that aspect, because a lot of people don't feel like they belong, especially during holiday season.
Yes.
And so being able to magnify a oneness aspect to life in general can be very healing.
And a sense of belonging is very important. There are negative aspects in our society which prey and recruit people who don't feel like they belong. And I don't want to name those entities because I don't want to give them strength through this broadcast.
Yeah.
But a sense of belonging to a family, whether it's a family that's biological or family by spirit. I have family that's by DNA, and I have family that we share spiritual DNA.
Yeah,
but we're
absolutely.
all family, you know. So
Absolutely.
the first day we do Umoja, which is unity, and we spend the day doing activities that bring us together as a family, as a community, as friends, etc., etc. The second day is Kuji Chagalia, and people go, Kuji what?
Now, would you actually light each candle with the lighter?
Traditionally, what I usually do when I'm having a celebration is I light it with a black candle, or I have an extra black candle and light each one with it. However, because I'm not familiar with this kit, I don't want to take candles out and not have them go back in. So on the second day, we would light the black candle, which is unity, and then Kuji Chagalia, which is self-determination. Self-determination. You decide who you are. You decide how you're going to be. You defined and embark on the journey to your destiny. Self-determination. Then on the
Now, what I like about that, I'm sorry for interrupting. What I like about that is so many people live by comparing themselves to others, or sometimes they have problems defining what they want their life to be. So if we highlight self-determination, or we emphasize self-determination, I think it gives people permission to determine for themselves what works, what doesn't work, or how they want to define different aspects of their lives.
The only person you're in competition with is yourself. You're striving to be a better you with each and every breath you take and each and every day that you live to see. The only person you're in competition with is yourself, because nobody else lives your life. Nobody else feels your pain. Nobody else feels your joy. You can share those things, but your determination, your definition of self is key.
Yeah, I think that's very freeing. Thank you. Okay, what's
The
next?
third day is Ujima. And Ujima is collective work and responsibility, i.e. teamwork, coming together, pooling resources. When I was very, very young, pretending to be a child, I lived in a community where everyone looked out for each other. And so there would be days when my mom would call me and say, go over to Mrs. Francis, she's gonna give you some jars, and you bring them back to the house. If I'm not home by a certain time, heat them things up. My mama didn't talk like that, but I just want, So, and that's what we do. We looked out for each other. So, one person, it reminds me of the story Stone Soup, which I'm not gonna tell, but everyone brings something. Today we call it potluck. Okay. Everyone brings something. So imagine having community potluck where everyone brings something to the table. Maybe one person's a carpenter, maybe another person's a computer geek, maybe another person, you see what I'm saying? And we come together with collective work and responsibility, teamwork.
And now where I grew up, collective work meant the willingness to serve each other.
Yes.
And also, we know that serving each other or being open to, like having the heart of a servant, is character building.
Being able to give of yourself to others is very important because you have to step outside of self. When you help somebody else's life become better, you improve the quality of your own life as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Then the fourth day, and you notice I'm alternating. I started out
I was going to ask
first,
you about
the black
that.
candle represents us. The red candle represents the blood and the struggle of the people. The green candle represents the land and the wealth. You know, when it boils down to it, all wars are fought over the land. What's in the land, what's over the land, what runs through the land. The land is the wealth, and it also represents the future because trees grow, flowers grow, people grow. Okay. So we start out on the outside and work our way back in. Okay. So now we're to the fourth day, I believe, yes. And the fourth day is Ujamaa. Some people say Ujamaa. But Ujamaa is cooperative economics. We support organizations and businesses that reflect ourselves. We support especially black-owned businesses. We support businesses that support our community. Wealth is a great equalizer. You may not have a lot of money. You may only have $1. But if you have 1,000 people with $1, that's $1,000. And if you're spending that $1,000 toward one goal, it's easier to accomplish than starting out with that $1. You have 10,000 people, you have 1 million people, and so on and so on. African Americans in this country alone, America, we are about $1 trillion business. We're at least a multi-billion dollar commodity because organizations and companies know that they can make lots and lots of money off of black folk. Imagine the power we can have when we take that and funnel it back into our community.
So that goes along with collective work, actually.
Yes,
in my mind.
Because you come together. Yes.
And also with togetherness. So we're still building off of the principle of unity.
Yes, I like, yes.
Okay,
You're very
I'm learning
astute.
something.
Okay, so then we have Nia. And Nia is purpose. What is your purpose? Why are you here? And often we spend the journey of life discovering that purpose, but it's your purpose. It's not the purpose that someone else wants for you. It's why are you here? What are your special skills? What is it that you can do? And how do you do it? So what is your purpose? It may be physical, it may be spiritual, it may be mental. You might be a computer whiz, you might be good at sports. What is your purpose? What talents, what abilities do you have, and how can you use them to define who you are? What is your purpose? Then we go to Kuumba. Kuumba is one of my favorite ones because Kuumba is creativity. Now, old folk will tell you that there's nothing new under the sun, it's just wrapped in different packages. And that's very, very true. A lot of times when I work with young people, particularly teenagers, and I tell the boys about things, they look at me and they go, how'd you know that? I said, I've been your age. You haven't been mine. But creativity is learning how to take something, it may be something very mundane, and then you turn it into the next event. Yeah. Creativity is permission to unleash your imagination and to let it grow.
Now, I was thinking of something when you talked about purpose and creativity, that families, during each day where a candle is lit, families can do something that goes along with the theme. For instance, with purpose, a parent could ask each of her children or whoever is in that family to define what purpose means to them.
Yes.
And ask them ways to live out their purpose. And then they can be creative in doing that.
Yes.
Right?
I knew a family where the mother asked the son, he said, what is your purpose? And he said, to look after my little brothers and sisters, to help them grow into being wonderful people, just as you look after me. Wow, you know?
Yeah,
And,
that's powerful.
and sometimes as when you are the eldest, you have to come up with creative ways for redirecting your siblings' behavior.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay.
Then we have, so that was creativity. And on the seventh day, we have Imani, which is faith. There's the old saying that we walk not by sight, but by faith. And faith, to me, means to accept things that have yet to manifest as if they've already manifested. In other words, you have a goal. It's not here yet, but you have no doubt in your mind that you will achieve it. And you put everything into achieving that. You accept that, so as you thinketh, you are. So as you thinketh, you can do. You make the impossible improbable, and the improbable possible, and the possible reality. That is Imani, faith.
Now, I think that's very powerful coming from a parent to a child, you know, encouraging that child to have faith and also, you know, affirming who that child is and telling them you can do it.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't that go along with faith when you tell somebody, yes, you can do this, or this is possible, or there are no limits?
No, I remember people share a lot of stories with me. They confide in me a lot. And there was a young boy, he was talking about a very terrible event that happened in their lives, and how he held on and kept his brothers and sisters engaged. And after it was all over, his mother or his father asked him, how were you able to keep your cool? He said, I don't know if I could have kept my cool. He said, because I had faith. I knew that you would come for us. I knew you would find us. I knew that this would pass. That's powerful coming out of a child.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Speaking of children, if I didn't mention it earlier, the corn represents the children, and then the fruits represent the harvest. And harvest means a tomorrow. You know, because you have that harvest, and you eat and you grow and you live and you
Right.
you
And we want all of our children to have faith in knowing that there is a tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, I think it's kind of interesting that hope isn't necessarily one of these principles, but I suppose you can build that in.
I think the hope is the Nguzo Saba, the seven principles collectively. Because if you have a sense of unity, if you know that if you have Kujichagulia, self-determination, if you practice collective economics and growth, if you practice cooperative economics, if you practice purpose and creativity and Imani, which is faith, that's a hope for a better circumstance than where you are now, no matter how challenging or how blessed you may feel you are. All of that is hope.
Yeah. Well, I love how you threaded all of that together. So now we're at day 7.
Yes.
So, and their candles are lit, they're beautiful.
And
now what?
Traditionally, we have the unity cup, and we pour spirit. A lot of times people pour pure water, and some people pour pure spirit.
Okay, so that's what this is
Yes,
for.
we can do, yeah.
When you say spirits, what do you mean?
Water
You mean
is
what
a
I think
spirit.
you mean? Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Water is a spirit, because water is the essence of life.
I see.
And some
Thank
people
you for explaining that.
Some people use water, my pleasure. Some people use water, some people use adult beverages,
Okay.
you know. But however, a very quick aside, way back, way back before we had the filtration systems we had now, in many places drinking the water as it was made you sick. It could take you out of this life. And a lot of people began to brew or make what we now call beer or ales or meads, because the way you get that through the process of fermentation killed off the bad bacteria, and you were able to survive better off of that than you were off of your local water. You know? So everyone would, you fill up the Unity cup, and then people traditionally take a sip from the Unity cup and pass it around. Families do it. Some people who are tight in the community who know each other do it. Symbolically, we will do it. You just take a sip. And this is symbolic of sharing our life essence and coming together for unity. The mat, which is usually made out of straw, represents the foundation. Because when you have a strong foundation, you can grow into a mighty nation.
Wow. Wow.
So these are the basic things, but there's one more thing. On the seventh day, people gather around, usually at someone's home, which they may have helped clean up or put in order, and people bring food or cook food, and they have a mighty feast, and you know I like to feast. I think somebody else likes to feast too, but I ain't called no names, cameraman. But anyhow, but we also exchange zawadi, which
I'm
is
glad
gifts.
you were clear about that.
Oh yes, my mama taught me well. Okay, one more thing.
sharing.
We
Okay.
share gifts. Would you hand me that, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So a gift is not the most expensive thing. It's not the next big thing. The gifts, if they're for children, are usually based on things they've earned. We usually give books, maybe educational games, et cetera, something the child has earned. It can be a piece of clothing, but it's not. The idea is not to go broke doing it, you know. So it can be gifts. So today, we're going to flash forward and imagine it's the seventh day of Kwanzaa, and we have just finished feasting, and I want to present you with zawadi. This is Mancala. I call it the game of 1,000 names and 1,000 different ways to play. It's the oldest known board game in the world. It predates Mahjong and it predates chess.
Wow.
So that's
now,
my
are we
gift to
still
you.
pretending? Is this,
No, that's
is
your
this
gift.
symbolic? Oh, really?
That's your
I get
gift,
to-
yes.
Oh, thank you.
No, pleasure's
thank you.
mine.
Thank you very much. Well, again, thank you so much for the gift. Thank you so much for sharing your talents with us, your history with us, and thank you so much for sharing the meaning of Kwanzaa and how we actually do Kwanzaa and think about Kwanzaa throughout the 7 days. Now, my understanding is the first day of Kwanzaa is actually the first day after Christmas. So December 26th.
To January 1st.
Okay.
So you start out the day after Christmas and you go up to the brand new year. Oh, by the way, even though Kwanzaa is a 7-day celebration, the principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles, can be practiced 365. Did I add an extra day there? But it can be practiced all year long.
Again, thank you. Thank you
The pleasure's
so
been mine.
much. Now, and as I said earlier, practicing celebrations can be very healing, but the Honorable Baba C has agreed to give us a story, which we know can also be very healing. So stay tuned and we'll hear his story.
Oh, I'll hear it too.
Thank you.
Pleasure is mine. Asante Sana, thank you very much. You say Sikitu.
Sakitu?
Which means de nada, you're welcome, it was nothing.
Oh, okay. Sakitu.
I've been telling stories for a while. I've been telling stories since 19... But the more I learn about stories, the more I discover that no matter whether it's from China or from the continent of Africa or South America, a lot of stories tie together and a lot of themes seem to go from one culture to another. And I want to share this story with you. And this story, when it was first told, was told a long time ago. You see, a long time ago, there were 2 best friends named me and you. And me and you did everything together. Me and you, we had tracts of land that were side by side. We built our houses next to each other. And often we ate our evening meals and our morning meals together because me and you were bestest of best friends. We were BFF, best friends forever. And me and you, they even helped each other grow our gardens. Because back in the day, people grew the food they ate. And me and you were also fishermen. And me and you, early in the morning, would get into their boats and they take their long poles and push out to go to their favorite fishing spot. And they push out and go to their favorite fishing spot. And then they cast their nets. And me and you would talk about this, that, and the other thing. I know you're probably thinking this, that, and the other thing, but remember this. Just because someone talks differently than you doesn't mean they don't know what you know. It just means they talk differently than you. So me and you, we talked and talked and talked until it was time to pull in the nets. And we pull in the nets, and we pull in the nets, and we pull in the nets. You can probably tell I'm a city kid. And we pull in the nets and have lots of fish. So me and you would go back and we cook some of the food for ourselves and sell the rest of the fishies. Every day, me and you went fishing. But after a while, me and you discovered they were getting less and less, fewer and fewer fishies every time they go out. Until one day, me and you went out to fish, and when me and you came back, you had caught no fish, and me had caught the only fish. So me and you were sitting around trying to figure out what we're going to do because you didn't catch a fish. So me said, I tell you what, you take the head, I take the body. And you said, no, that's not fair. So me said, did you catch a fish? No. Me caught the fish. So me take the body, you get the head. But it's not fair. I ask you again, did you catch the fish? No. Me caught the fish. So me get the body, you get the head. And they argued so loud that the other people in the Kijiji, the village, came around to see what's going on because me and you never argued. And they kept on arguing. So finally someone said, go get the village elder. Not the village idiot, the village elder. And they went to get the elder who was known as We Us. So We Us came and he listened. What seems to be the problem? We went fishing like we do every day, but today we only caught one fish. And me says he should have the body and for you to have the head. Well, did you catch a fish? No. Who caught the fish? Me caught the fish. That's why me get the head, me get the body, and you get the head. But that's not fair. We always share. And so the village elder started to tink and tink and tink and tink. Think and think and think and think. Remember what I told you. And then he said, you have called me here to make a decision, and I have decided. You, did you catch a fish? No. Me, did you catch a fish? Yes, me caught the fish. Then this is my decision. You will take the tail, me will take the head, and we will take the body. And they both went, no, that is not fair. I am the elder. You asked me to rule. That is my decision. You will take the tail, me will take the head, and we will take the body. And the village people understood what he had done. And they thought, indio, yes. Now, did you understand what just happened? You see, me and you can do a lot of things. Me can do this, you can do that. But when we lose sight of the fact that we have to come together and make decisions, that we can share. You see, me and you, we can go our own ways. But when we come together as us, oh, the things we can accomplish are unimaginable and limitless. So the next time you and me are having an argument, remember, become we, be us, come together. And those are some of the principles of the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Asante Sana. Thank you very much. I am Baba C, your humble griot.
I hope you've enjoyed our special holiday edition. As a child and family therapist, I realize that this time of year can be difficult for many people of all ages. I want to encourage you to choose to share your holiday with someone. Maybe you can help out in a homeless shelter, serve food in a local kitchen, or distribute groceries in a food bank. If you'd really rather spend time alone, carve out time to write letters to military members overseas. I remember spending a holiday in Kuwait as a member of the Air Force. It felt so good to know that I wasn't forgotten by those here at home. And if by chance the season, the day, the moment seems too much for you to bear, call the Maryland Crisis Line at 1-800-422-0009. The suicide hotline is 301-864-7130. And the general support line is 211. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be sad. There is help every day, and all night. This has been a special holiday edition of Mental Health Moments. Remember, your children's mental health matters. The District Heights Family and Youth Services Bureau is your YSB, and our sole purpose is to serve you. Be blessed and feel your blessings on purpose.